guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. The first thing I wanted to say before we get into this very different sort of video is that I got a new microphone for videos, so please let me know if you have any issues with it, if anything needs to be tweaked to sound better. Let me know because this is all very new to me. So yeah, today's video I will be showing you the process of my D&D character, Aylin Ashera. I love her very much and I'm very excited to play her. I've only played her once and not too much happened just yet. But yeah, as requested on Instagram, I will be telling you her backstory over top of this video. So it's super out of my comfort zone. Let's get into it. I hope you enjoy. Bye. Aylin was born on a cold winter day in a small coast town. While she was swaddled by a local healer, her mother was crying. Her partner had decided it was time to leave 3 days prior to her birth. Aylin's mother, Anna, was all alone. Growing up, Aylin learned many things from her dear mother. Firstly, be careful trusting men, especially elven men. Secondly, Aylin quickly learned that her mother was what one might call a simpleton. Throughout her younger life, Aylin was constantly protecting and standing up for her mother. A hippie on the coast who did her best to bring in money by creating beaded jewelry, she was not always the smartest. Aylin became an adult very early in life. Not only was she shunned by the local human villagers due to her half-elf ears, slight blue shimmer, and piercing blue eyes, but otherwise human appearance, but she had to help bring in some money to be able to eat and keep a roof, a very small one, over their heads. Anna explained to Aylin that her father, a no-good elf, stayed with her during the pregnancy, speaking of the life they would have together, teaching her the language of the sea elves, water genasi, and worshipping the goddess Eldath together. The only thing Anna was good at was languages, and beating, of course. 3 days before Aylin's birth, her father left a note, just one word, goodbye. At the age of 13, now proficient in a small handful of languages, her and her mother were putting together some new beaded bracelets for Anna's jewelry stall. Suddenly, a group of human men forced their way into the one front door entry of their ramshackle cottage. They spoke horrible words, calling Anna horrible names, cursing her for bedding an elf. Anna, stunned, did not say a word before she was killed with an arrow, dropping the bracelet that she was working on. Aylin was shocked, but she was too quick. She grabbed the beaded bracelet that fell next to her and ran through the small back kitchen window. However, she was caught, and for the next 3 years, she became a slave in the local mines, far, far away from her one true love, the water. After the 3rd year, the mine had a large cave-in, causing many of the slaves to be trapped. However, the slave owners did not know that there was an exit in the opposite direction. Aylin and a handful of other slaves escaped into the wilds. Lost and tired and weak from little food and constant hard labor, Aylin made her way through the forest, collapsing after 3 days. When she awoke, she was in a little cottage, the smell of apples reaching her. She soon realized that she was in a small living area with a blanket and a small slice of apple pie placed on the table in front of her. Too hungry to care, she ate the pie while looking around. This place was covered in doilies. This is where she met Torin, the only father figure she ever knew, a 243-year-old dwarf who spoke Common and Dwarvish, who cared for her till she was better and taught her his language. Aylin decided not to depend on others, and she went off into the forest and learned the way of the druids on her own, finding a beautiful druid grove with a lake not too far from Torin's home. She spent most nights in the forest, close to the grove, but constantly visited Torin for dinners, laughter, and learning. While she reached the age of 25, she decided to head to the coast to find her way onto a ship. With all this magical knowledge, she might be able to head out to sea and maybe one day find her father and ask him her burning questions. Despite her beloved mother Anna's warning of him, Aylin wonders if there was more to his disappearance. Aylin knows one day she may have to confront her father and ask him all the questions as to why he left so suddenly. Her trust for men can be low, but she does begin to trust after a while. She has a particular love for dwarves, as that was the only father figure she ever really knew. Human men, however, she had a very hard time with. She soon gained passage onto a ship, and after 6 months, the captain, Amelia Bayfong, saw her potential. The ship was a cargo ship with a secret. They also helped slaves escape their fates. With Aylin's past, the captain knew she needed her as her first mate. Aylin was empathetic and calm in extreme situations. She listened to her peers and handed out acceptable punishments when required. She was a strong fighter and a brave woman, and the captain did not want anyone else by her side. After a while, after nights of discussing plans together alone, it was a rainy night while the ship rocked back and forth and the crew were snoring away. The captain of the ship, dubbed the Meredith, suddenly kissed Aelin in the flickering candlelight. Out of nowhere, Aelin was startled, but finally felt at home and at peace. From then on, they were inseparable, bringing their cargo of furs back and forth from port to port while saving slaves left and right. They were amazing and an immaculate team. One day, a storm hit. A horrible storm that even Aelin could not control. The ship rocked dangerously, the crew fighting to stay afloat. The water splashed over the edges, allowing the cargo to float back and forth below deck. The storm took them. The ship sank. Aelin was relieved that there was no extra escaping slaves on board that fateful day. Aelin, skilled in druidic power, turned into her favorite form, the giant octopus, and was able to look for her crew, but the storm was still too much. Aelin searched for days for her captain, her partner, and her bride as they were engaged for only 3 days and had yet to bind it. Alas, the only person she found, or not really a person, was the ship's cat, who kept mice and rats at bay. She allowed him to hold on to her jelly head, the claws were horrible, and she swam to the closest port in Brushwick. After that, the little orange tabby never left her side. She named him Ames after her beloved Amelia. Aelin spent 3 days and 3 nights in a drunken stupor before she decided to head back to sea. For now she hoped she could one day find not only her father, but also Amelia, the love of her life.